Wow! Welcome to my show. Have I told you the one about every night, 8 p.m. Pacific? You ready to go? Here's some magic. Pew, pew. I don't know why that thrills me, that little sound, but it does. Hi, everybody. It's me, Michael V. Smith, back at the show. We have a very exciting guest today. This is somebody who I admire enormously, who's wildly talented, who's written a million books that I adore, and I never get to talk to her enough. So, let's get to it. Count down with me. 1, 2, 3. Poof! It's Jen!
Hi!
Hi, Jen.
I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so thrilled because we just get to hang out. I get to hear a story from you and see your face.
Yeah, it's so nice to see your face. It's true, we don't hang out enough. I don't think I've seen you in person for a while, a couple years,
Well, I
maybe.
haven't been to Vancouver in a year.
Yeah, yeah.
Jen lives in Vancouver and I live in Kelowna, and that is a 4+ drive away. And I don't know, there's something weird about this past year. I just haven't gone to Vancouver.
Yes, it's overrated. It's fine.
I've become an Okanagan boy.
Is it good though? Do you like being an Okanagan boy?
Yeah, oh, geez, I love it here. It's
Yeah,
gorgeous. Yeah,
yeah.
I feel really privileged. It's Syilx Okanagan people's territory, and they're also just a gorgeous nation. So there's just it has a really good vibe. Like it's a beautiful place, and people are friendly. People say hi to you on the street. I was in Kitsilano last year, the last time I was there, and I was walking up the street and I was saying hi to people because in my neighborhood, you walk past somebody, you say hi to them. Everybody ignored me.
What?
Like, no,
Really?
yeah, I said hi to people. I was like, "Oh, hi," or like, "Hey," and people would just keep going. Like I was I wasn't dressed like this. Like I was some weirdo on the street who was trying to rob them or something. Like, anyways, small towns are friendlier places, I think.
You're probably right. I will say in my neighborhood, I live in North Burnaby, sort of in between downtown and Simon Fraser University, and people are pretty friendly. But I've noticed since this pandemic, like what happens is I move aside for people, when I'm walking the dog or whatever, and every single person who is a white person, when I move aside for them, they thank me excessively, like because they don't want me to think they're a racist. I
Well,
swear.
has its perks.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Your dog is so cute. Thank you. Have a great day. And I'm like, you guys are overcompensating, right?
I've noticed people on the street are friendlier. Like
Yeah.
the average person is making more eye contact. It's interesting.
I think people are lonely.
Yeah, well, I think they're also taking care.
I think,
I don't
yeah.
mind a little loneliness and taking care if it means a little more so civic kindness.
Yeah, it is. And I was also actually walking past a neighbor's house, and it's a man I'd never talked to before. But my dog, of course, was taking a nice big dump on his lawn, and I was picking it up, and he said, "Oh, I can throw that away for you here. I'll just put it in my garbage." And I'm like, "Well, thank you, neighbor."
It's so
Very
nice.
nice. Yeah.
You
I
got to
guess he was
admire the people.
that I was picking it up.
You got to admire the people willing to take your shit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He's the person you want on your team.
It's true. What's his address?
Oh yeah.
You can get a phone number. Maybe he
I
delivers
think
lasagna.
yeah, I bet he does. I bet he does.
Okay, here, I've got my story portal. I'm really excited for your story. Oh, I forgot to tell you, you have to do some little magic trick to make it materialize.
Me?
Yeah, you have to like blink or
Okay.
something.
Right now?
Yeah,
Okay. Right.
say a word or see good. Your story is The Cousin Who Hated Me.
Yeah.
Well, what happened there?
Well, what happened was when I was 8 years old, it was 1984, and my parents took me to Hong Kong and to China. I have four older sisters, but they only took me because my sisters were teenagers and young adults then, and they had like jobs and stuff. It was summertime.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so they took me,
Maybe
and
there was a bit of favoritism because, you're Jen Suk Fong Lee.
I'm obviously the cutest one. So that was,
I don't
and
that for a
yeah, they
second.
took me. And we stayed with my aunt and uncle in Hong Kong. They lived in an apartment that had 6 flights of steps and no elevator, and we dragged all our furniture up there. They also lived with my grandmother, and they had 2 daughters, Helena and Jenny. So we had the same name.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, Jenny. And Jenny was about 9 months older than I was.
uh,
Um, yeah, and I showed up in my little. I had my sisters, my older sisters would buy me nice clothes with their money because I was like a little doll for them. So I showed up in like literally it was an Esprit romper. I remember this romper like so clearly. It was like a pastel blue and pink like pinstripe Esprit romper. It was the cutest thing. It was like my favorite piece of clothing.
oh, I'd wear that.
Yeah, I'd wear it now. If I could find a facsimile, I would wear it. So I showed up, and she instantly hated me on sight because I was 9 months younger. I was from Canada. All of our relatives were, they were babying me. They were paying a lot of attention to me because I was the youngest one, and they hadn't met me
And
before.
they'd never met you.
They'd never met me before. My grandmother had, because she had come to Canada when my mom was pregnant
Okay.
and when my mom had her labor and delivery and all that, but nobody else had.
Oh,
Um,
you were the new Jenny.
the new Jenny in my Esprit romper, and she was so upset by my romper. I remember this. She was every time I'd wear it, she'd give me the stink eye. And her older sister, who was quite a little bit, she was probably a preteen at this point, didn't care about me at all. She just thought, well, great, this little girl's getting all the attention. I can go and like sneak a phone call with my boyfriend, and it's fine. Nobody will care. But Jenny was just constantly picking at me, and she would speak English and Chinese to me, but she used Chinese if she wanted to hide something from me because my Chinese wasn't that good. It was good enough, but
Mhm.
she could certainly hide things from me, like talk to her sister about me.
Right.
In
Talk faster
Yeah, yeah, faster with bigger words, like
with
more
bigger
vocabulary.
words. Yeah.
Yeah. And then one night, my aunt and uncle had invited more extended family for coffee and cake after dinner. And they were all sitting around. All these adults were like paying attention to me as they were, and I'd been there for maybe about a week. And Jenny had already changed into her nightgown because it was late, and she disappeared into the kitchen. And then she came out holding like a big chef's knife, the big chef's knives. And she came out and she yelled, "I'm going to kill you," at me. She was She was 8.5 years old. I need to repeat how old she was. And she came out, she said, "I'm going to kill you. I hate you." And she came running toward me in this white nightgown. Yes, big chef's knife. My father tackled her like a football tackle from across the room, like grabbed her and threw her to the ground, wrestled this knife away from her, and I started to cry because it was scary.
What?
And then yeah.
Yeah.
And then my mother hustles me into the other room, like because I think mostly just to protect me, but she hustled me into the next room, and I was crying and crying, and I said she wanted to kill me. She wanted to kill me. My mom said, "Shush, we are guests here. We are not going to make a big deal out of this."
Attempted murder is not the same as real murder. It was a
We're
trial.
family.
It didn't work. We're fine. Let's go take a nap.
She's like, "Suck it up. We're going to go out there and pretend nothing happened." And I was like, "Okay." So, "Okay, mom."
Wow.
And I go out there, and it's literally like nothing has happened. My dad is sitting there eating his coffee and cake, and like Jenny is sitting there in her nightgown eating a piece of cake. Like literally nothing has happened. There was no "I'm sorry," just nothing, just
She didn't even
nothing.
apologize?
No, no one made her apologize. None of the adults made her apologize, which I think is very
It was
strange.
so
And
strange.
so strange.
So,
And then the rest of the trip was very uneventful. And then to this day, though, Michael, if my mother tells me some news about my cousin Jenny, she doesn't use her name. She says, "Your cousin who tried to stab you."
I have this friend from an old friend. We're not friends anymore, but I think I was probably 10. So we were in about grade 5, and I had my birthday party at the Ponderosa, which is just a steakhouse. Ponderosa
Yeah, I know.
House in Cornwall, Ontario.
Yep.
And it was a whole bunch of boys. It was me and the boys from my school, a whole bunch of boys. And Todd Thompson threw up at my birthday party at the Ponderosa. And
Okay.
for the next 10 years, if I mentioned my friend Todd, my mom would say, "Is that the kid who threw up at your party?" Like, Mom, you know it's the kid who threw up at my party because we go through this every. She just liked to say it for the drama.
Yes.
I think
Same with my mother.
yeah, they want to convince you that they've been paying attention to your life. Oh, that's the
Well,
one that tried to stab you. I remember that. I was paying attention.
like if you that you'd think your parents wouldn't forget the kid who tried to stab you. Like you'd think.
So did they have a lot of power in your family? Why would they not have her apologize? Was it too
I
embarrassing?
Maybe it was just embarrassing. I think everybody just wanted to forget it had happened. Like my aunt and uncle are not terrible people. They're
Yeah.
just
Oh yeah, no.
but my grandma was living there then and she would die not long afterwards and she was quite ill. Like she had a long sort of battle with diabetes and she was going blind and she was quite sick. So I think mostly didn't want to upset my grandmother, mostly.
Okay.
But it was I tell this story once in a while to people and they're like, "Wait, she actually tried to stab you?" And I'm like, "Yes."
That's amazing. And why would she change in a white? It was like she wore a white dress because she wanted to get your blood on it so she could wear it for the rest of her life. This
It's the
life I took.
But it was the kind of white nightgown that like a ghostly little girl would wear in like a horror movie.
Mm.
You know, like long and like flouncy, and it was trailing behind her as she tried to run across the room.
It
Just
slowed her down. The billowing sails.
like a parachute.
Well, she was dressing for the part of murderess.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
Jen-
seen her? Have you seen her as an adult?
No, I've never seen her again. I haven't been to Hong, or I have been to Hong Kong, but I've never seen her. Like I've maybe I've seen her parents. I've never seen her.
Wow. Isn't that amazing? It's not just
Weird,
your
right?
namesake, it's also your nemesis.
Yeah. She's like my evil doppelganger, no?
She's like your evil doppelganger. Is her last name Lee?
Her last name is Lau, which is my mom's maiden name.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow, Lau.
Yeah. Lau and Lee are not that different.
No, they're not, are they?
No.
You could make a little sitcom out of this. Jenny Lee and Jen Lau and Jenny Lee. Jenny Lau and Jen Lee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Jen and Jenny.
Ooh.
And
Will we meet again?
I love this. That's a beautiful story. The cousin who hated me. And, maybe the cousin I then hated.
I don't even think I ever hated her after that. I'm sure I didn't. You know what else happened?
You should
I'll tell
have
you.
at least gotten her piece of cake.
Oh no, I got my own cake. But
2 pieces.
but she and I wrote a radio drama together, like a radio play, when I was there. And so her English was quite good. So she was taking English lessons. So we wrote a radio play and performed it, and we recorded it on cassettes, and everybody got a copy. Like I had my copy up until I don't know how many years ago, maybe 20 years ago. I still had it as an adult, and it was a story of an alien invasion.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if you played it backwards, if it would say things.
Like,
take the knife from the kitchen.
Steal the rubber, steal the rubber.
Yeah. Trying to sound like I'm talking backwards.
Like when they used to play those records backwards, those heavy metal records when we were kids to prove they were satanic.
Yeah.
And they would play it, and I'm like, I don't understand the thing that backwards record is saying. Is it satanic? Does anyone know? Yeah. There's that story. Yeah. She really wanted that romper, I think.
Well, maybe you should have just mailed it to her, and then that would have been the end of it.
Yeah. I would have given it to her, honestly, if she wanted it that badly.
My Life or the Romper. Oh.
Take the romper.
Jen, thanks for coming to tell me about the cousin who hated me.
You're welcome. This was delightful.
You're amazing. Let's give a big kiss out to the audience.
Mwah!
Bye.